Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Luke. Welcome back to the channel and I hope everybody's doing well. It's about to rain outside, so I had to bring this bad boy in. Obviously you see that from the time lapse. And what we're going to be doing today, I'm going to run through the install of the oil temperature sensor sponsored by GlowShift gauges. Check them out guys, use my name for a pretty decent discount. Anyway, today we're going to run through the steps of installing this gauge on my SMY dual cluster. From last week's episode you saw the coolant or water temperature sensor, and today we're doing the oil temperature sensor. So let's go see what's in the box. Alright guys, so what's in the box? Obviously you saw from the time lapse, you obviously got the oil temperature gauge. You have the extender, which I don't use, put that to the side. This is the NPT fitting right here. Now this works easily for me because I'm gonna throw the link up real quick on this video. When I installed my oil pressure sensor, I purchased a sandwich plate which had multiple ports. So this is gonna go right into one of my NPT ports where the oil filter is, which makes it super easy, so I'm not drilling into anything, into the pan or anything like that. This just put some Teflon tape around this, screw it in, and we gravy. Now, the only wire that's gonna be running through the firewall is this green wire right here. The green is gonna be connecting to the white wire underneath the car. I'm gonna attach a black wire right here, and I'll be running that directly to the battery as a ground. And that is pretty much it. All right folks, things you're gonna need: your wire cutter, crimper. Obviously this is the NPT, this is the oil temperature sensor right here. I already took the liberty putting the Teflon tape around it, so put this bad boy to the side. Obviously your gauge, this is the wire harness that gets plugged in the back of it. The only wire that you're running through the firewall is this green wire. I have green wire right here which I'll be extending. I really don't understand why that GlowShift didn't have the wire lengthened like the water temperature gauge. It's what's beyond me, but whatever. You just run extra wire and connect it up. What I'm gonna be doing, I'm not crimping this nonsense and plugging it in. I'm gonna slice this off here and join the green wire, heat shrink it, join another piece of black wire, heat shrink this. I'm not crimping and like dealing with this stuff as the last gauge. So I'll do that. Obviously, and your assorted heat shrinks, taps, ties, and whatnot. Other than that, and obviously it's a 14 mil, this is a 14 mil screw under here. So let's go, I'm gonna go and screw this in right now. All right peeps, so what you're seeing here is me lengthening the green wire on the power harness to run through the firewall, and that'll end up connecting to the white wire on the temperature sensor. Then you'll see me lengthening the black ground wire to connect either to the battery or somewhere underneath the car. Alright guys, so now we're under the car, and real simple. This is the sandwich adapter that I installed the last time. This is the NPT oil pressure sensor right here. I just unplugged the wire so you guys could see a little bit clearer. And I got 3 remaining ports. One over here, which is really close to the header. One over here, which is another close one to the header, and this one right here. So what I'm gonna do first, take off the oil filter, just strain. The oil is nice, it's nice and cold anyway. Just get this little bit of oil out, then take this screw out, put this one in, run the wire. Then after that, go to the firewall and connect up the rest of the circuits. That's it.
But the problem is, you know how to lower my self-esteem and my confidence. The kind of bitch that requires good digging dominance. You let me tear down your walls and all this preposterous. I'll never let another get in between me and my...
Alrighty guys, so from the time lapse you see me taking one of the MPT nuts off, this one right here. These nuts over here, these are 12 millimeters. This is a 14. And as I said before, the threads in here are tapered, which means you don't have to crank this. See how far? See how much Teflon tape there is remaining? You don't have to crank it all the way down before you break something. As soon as it started getting tight, stop. Now, this spindle right here, this spindle is another thing. If you guys have the sandwich adapter, this spindle only has to be hand tight. Wait, look, I can literally loosen that like this. You tighten it right there, because once you start tightening the oil filter, it will tighten the spindle as well. Got it? So now all I got left to do, put the oil filter back on, route these wires, run the wires on the inside for the harness through the firewall, and connect the gauges. Then,
I blame myself because I was too stupid to see the signs. With as for help or weakness is something that's criticized. Try and let you go, but in my heart, girl, I still love you. Try and find the visions of that woman that I once knew. When we was kids, it was great, it was fate, was soulmates. Then we got older, shit changed, now we gone separate ways. I'm not over you, I'm not over you. I'm not over you, I'm not over you.
Alright peeps, so right here you see me using zip ties and tape to route the harness wires from the bottom to the top to the gauge pod, and then a couple revolutions of frog tape around the gauge, and then I put the rubber band over it for it to seat properly into the pod. Alright people, it's that time again. You just saw me run the wire through the firewall. I just gotta pull this excess through, not a big deal. Saw me how I wrapped up the gauge, popped them in, not a big deal. Now we're back down to the last 3 wires. The orange wire is somewhere up there, who cares, I don't use it, not a big deal. So we got the yellow, black, and red wire. Those wires are gonna get, this red is gonna get joined to this red right here, tapped into the switch connection. The yellow joined up with this yellow, tapped into the permanent connection, and the black tapped into the ground. Here we go. Alright peeps, what you see me doing here, I disconnected the taps from the previously installed gauge. Once disconnected, for example, you take the yellow wire from the previous gauge, connect it to the yellow wire from the new gauge, and tap into the corresponding fuse with the same color wire, and then repeat the process for the remaining 2 colors. Alright guys, so what we got to do with this, this wire right here, this is the one from the firewall. It's going to join up with the other green wire that's off of this oil temperature sensor, and I already ran this green wire in the same wire loom that the oil pressure sensor is in, so just to hide the wire. And you could get this black wire right here from the temperature sensor. You can either run it up to the battery, put it on the negative terminal, or there's actually a ground right across the way. So I'm gonna just ground it off to that and just call it a day. But anyway, let's get to it. So what I'm doing here is connecting the green wire that I ran through the firewall to the green wire I extended from the sensor. Heat shrink it, and then connect the ground right across the way instead of running it up to the battery. Super easy. Alright, so everything is tucked away nice and neat. Put it in the wire loom right here. Ran it over here, and I grounded it off with that ring terminal right here. So, time to reconnect the battery and start it up. Check for any leaks. Alright guys, so first time we're about to check for power. Let's see what we got. Dope. Freaking dope. Cycles through. Nice. Now all we gotta do is start the car. Give me a sec. Let me put the camera. All right, here we go. We're about All right, guys, so we literally have no leaks here. Little smoke, that's just oil that touched the headers or anything like that. Filters tight, no leak here, no leak here. Wires already run. Everything works pretty good. Let me just back the car. Let me just put everything back together, back the car outside, because I don't want to start it in the garage. And I'll talk to you guys soon. All right, guys, backed it outside. Just cleaned up the garage real quick. I got to put it back on the ramps in the morning. It's really, really late right now. It's like 11 o'clock. Just want to show you, I had the car idling for a while. Guys, remember, when you're finished, from the oil temperature and water temperature gauges, guys, you have to top the stuff back off. I did that off camera, but yes, you have to top off your fluids properly. Here's a start for you. Views right there, man. Straight up cockpit style. That was what I'm talking about. Beautiful. With this gauge cluster right here, this bezel, the only thing that's getting blocked off is 160 to 180 miles an hour and the temperature gauge. But now we have the freaking a digital readout of the temperature for your coolant and oil. That's what I'm talking about, guys. Thank you very much for hanging out with me through this install. I really appreciate it. And once again, like, subscribe, comment. Guys, thank you very much. And I'll be talking to y'all soon. Beautiful. I'll talk to you guys. All right, guys, this is a side take a couple days later. Now, because of the whole COVID-19 virus issue, I had to wait on a package for like about a week. And this was ordered before this video was made. And the reason why I ordered it, because I'll show you right now. So if you notice right here, the wires for the oil pressure and the oil temperature sensors are running right here. It's about an inch away from the header. And regular wire loom will melt because of the heat these pipes produce. So what I did was, as you see this tape right here, this is the high heat tape from the last video when I wrapped the wire loom that sits on the radiator for the coolant temperature sensor. So what I did was I wrapped the wires bare with the high heat tape, put the wire loom over it, then wrapped the wire loom in a high heat tape. And I've run the car for a while. I went around the block, stuff like that, but I just don't want a chance when, you know, you're really doing a pull or you're in the highway or something and these things get really, really hot and then something starts to melt. So what I was waiting on was this bad boy right here. It's a Velcro aluminized heat shroud. This is gonna be freaking dope. And that will solve my problems about worrying about anything melting, because it will reflect a lot of heat. So I'll throw all this stuff in the description, guys, so don't worry about it. So let me put this on real quick. All right, peeps, this is a finished product right here. Couldn't possibly get any easier to do. I ran it all the way here, cut off the excess. It was pretty simple. Pretty simple, but now I don't have to worry about this freaking heat. And obviously, you know, I'm gonna run it and test it and everything, but it's gonna work out pretty well. All right, guys, it's a little loud, but a quick test. I've been running this car. The car's been running for about 20 minutes. High revs, idle, the whole nine. It is hot as freaking fudge under here. Like, I don't even want to touch it. Like, the freaking oil filter is hot. Now, watch this. Literally touching this whole sleeve, the whole shroud is warm, but it's so hot in the surrounding areas around here where the headers are. I'm talking about a massive amount of heat. And this thing right here is legit just like slightly warm. Look, I can literally hold on to it. Ah, freaking the surrounding heat it's hot, but I can literally touch this and hold on to it. So shit works. Alright guys, so this is a nice lit presentation of a nice little stroll off my Boost AFR oil pressure, coolant temperature or water temperature, and oil temperature gauges right here. All flowing nice and neat. Beautiful, and everything is, you know, the car is nice and warmed up. Everything is nice and accurate. Definitely looks like a nice little cockpit with all the transitions from the gauges and everything.
Take this money, blow it away. I